And we're already well underway now. First few strokes of the women's single sculls here in Poznan. And I'm fascinated, Martin, to see where Lobnig ends up in the ranking. And having spoken to Robert Sens yesterday, I think he's also pretty fascinated to find out where she'll end up.
Yeah, great start by the Austrian. And, you know, we asked Robert Sens, who's the Australian performance director, you know, how's Magdalena going to do here? And he said, well, I don't know. We're trying to work that out. And, of course, coach Colt Treyer that she's reunited with. It's her 20th year in the sport for the Austrian Tokyo bronze medalist. And, you know, for me, this is going to be a textbook sculling class looking at Tara Rigney. Look at her body rock over the Australian there. She just holds that body. Just a little bit of time. This is really, if you want to learn how to sculpt, look at Tara Rigney. She's got those arms out straight, hangs off the blade, and she really opens out nicely through the middle of the stroke. It's a great credit to Ellen Randall, who's working with her. And of course, I know that Tara Rigney's been inspired by Kim Brennan, the Australian Olympic champion. Beautiful, look there, so loose in the face. You know, she's working flat out, but you couldn't tell that from that picture, could you?
No, absolutely not. The Sydney University athlete who moved into the single for this Olympiad and has been pretty successful. Has been, I'd say, part of that collective of scullers that we always see towards the top, the Twigs, the Florines. But I think this could be her first real opportunity to stand atop the podium in the single scull with the absence of both the Dutch and Kiwi sculler.
Riding again with Rigney. Janssen has had a pretty decent first quarter. She's really come on through the season. I think early in the season she was kind of off the pace, but that qualification regatta where she broke Sanita Prospure's heart to scull through the Irish woman and take a slot to Paris has really given her an extra zip. Rigney now will just look to move slowly away, and I guess, you know, Rigney will believe she can beat Caroline Florine, who's, you know, remained in front of the women's field, and you know, Emma Twigg, the Kiwi, who's gone back home to be with the baby, and she'll be back into Europe, of course, for the Olympics. Lane number 6, Julia Folish. Now, you've got some good intel on her and her ergometer.
Yeah, I've heard that very strong. She's an ex-Cal athlete, so Cal Berkeley athlete, and she was in the 6:20s at one point on the erg in terms of a 2K time, which, if you're not in the sphere of rowing, is one of the fastest times that you can get, you know, nearing on the world record.
So we saw Aurelia Maxima Janssen. So there we're riding with Folish, and you know, it's a fantastic tribute to this German. Alex Foster will be the German representative in the Olympics, but she was in the 6th seat of the Calais, which is, you know, the powerhouse seat. She won the NCAAs, which is the American Women's National Championship with Cal. And the Frankfurter Sculler is here in the women's single, and she's leading Janssen over there, who is going to the Olympics. Maggie Fellows is coming back into it. She finished 2nd in the US trial. She's about 6 seconds down on Cara Cola, who will be the American sculler for the Paris Olympics. But she proudly represents Community Rowing Club, that amazing organisation in Boston. And Margaret Fellows recovered from a bit of a slow start to challenge for one of the podium places.
Yeah, do you know what? Looking up at the front of the field at halfway, actually, Crossy, so zooming back up there from Fellows towards Farrellich and Rigney, I'm surprised to see just, I wonder what rating Farrellich is doing, because it looks so low in comparison. And just taking a look there, she's down at 31 strokes a minute, Rigney up at 34, so there you go. That's why it looks just, I wouldn't even say ploddy, though. I think it just looks quite...
Yeah.
I relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, they will have different power ratios. I remember, you know, Tara was on the row show and she talks about her 2K erg score. I can't remember what it was, but it won't be as fast as Farley. That's why she's able to rate that sort of, you know, rating. She did have a sprint finish, I think, in the semi-final. She's going to be so pumped that she's out there ahead of Janssen, the Swiss sculler, and if she could look round that right shoulder, and she's not that far off Tara Rigney, look how much she's put into her. Maggie Fellows, is she going to win a bronze medal? The American.
That would be brilliant, wouldn't it, for fellows? Like you say, when you finish second at the trials, Kola, who's selected, hasn't managed to get a podium yet this season.
No.
But fellows could do that job for her for the USA.
Rowan from Tara came into the sport after that ACL injury. There's Margaret Fellows. Nice fluidity from her as well. Aurelia Maxima Janssen, she had the finish in Lucerne to get through Sunita Puspura, so we know the Swiss sculler who's rowing with those old-fashioned Macon blades has got pace in the last quarter. Tara Rigney has really stretched it out now. She's moved away from Farlish.
And Rigney is the pace, right? She is the pace of the World Championship podium. She is the pace that we're expecting come the Olympic Games. For our medalists, they need to be on terms with Rigney if they're in with a chance of getting a medal around their neck in Paris. But look at this, Maggie Fellows doing so well here.
She does.
She trains in Boston, Massachusetts, has put in even maybe another half a metre into Janssen.
She has. She looks a little tight just in the shoulders as she comes into the sprint there. But Janssen, maybe she's tying up. I think she's got a kind of tougher gearing with those Macon. You know, she's got like on a smaller cog on the bike, so it's harder to push the bike. But you know, if you keep the revolutions up, it'll go faster. And that might be her undoing as we come to the finish in this race.
So we're very close, closing in on the finish now, and Rigney will be the first to see red buoys in front of her eye line in this final 250 metres, as she has a vast amount of open water behind her. Rigney won't be fussed by that, though. She'll be fussed by the fact that she's put together and strung together a pretty competitive race ahead of what will be a hugely competitive Olympic Games in this boat classification in Paris. She's got to get every single stroke right between now and then. And the Australian is streaks ahead of current silver medal position. And this is Juliana Farlish on your screen here. She's now at the left, but look at the fight for the bronze medal. Janssen, that sprint, you called it, Crossy. Janssen coming right back. Are we going to see what we saw in Lucerne? She's got another 10 strokes to try and unleash something equivalent of a bronze medal position finish, and I think she's going to do it. She looks over to Fellows with a few strokes to go, and it is going to be so close to the line. But Janssen, the young Swiss, does it once again. She is just remarkable, and she gets herself onto the podium. She wrestles off Fellows, who had held that spot down for the majority of that race. Lobnig will limp over the line in fourth, the Austrian, who put in that brilliant bronze medal performance in Tokyo, not to be here for the podium in Poznan, but then